attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. This is Ron. I scheduled this early because I want to show an intraday combo ranking that I've been using, or I've attached to my new Woodward. I'm sorry, not Woodward Brown, to the Ron Brown files. But what has happened is I have a construction crew here siting my house, so they're pretty noisy, and I didn't anticipate them being in this area of the house when I scheduled this. So anyway, it might be kind of noisy. If it's real bothersome, I'll just cut it off, and I'll just go ahead and record the webinar on my own, and then we'll post it. I'll do that after they leave, but hopefully we can get through this and it'll be all right. They're very quiet right now, but I think they're just moving equipment. Anyway, thanks for attending. I see that people are still logging on, and that's fine. So let's just kind of go over this PDF. By the way, there's a PDF on your handouts, and it's dated 2017-05-11, and that's what is on my screen right now. I got a question yesterday from a subscriber. He said he's confused about the difference between the Insider Club and the webinar series that I did in the past. Well, the webinar series is several days of going over different techniques that I use, and I've done a couple of those this year. I think I've done one this year, and they will just happen occasionally. Now, the Insider Club is, the way I have it envisioned, is to fill in the gaps in the meantime and provide subscribers with my latest work. And I keep the files up to date, and I'm always experimenting, as you probably know if you followed me for a while, and that's the purpose of the Insider Club. So what I'm working with now, and you have to be a member of the club to get my latest files, it's dated 2017-05-01, and you'll see that as I get into HGSI. Now, this morning, let me say this. Originally, I was just going to go through some of these views and filters and show you what I've done, and I'll try to get to that. But more importantly, I decided this morning that I want to show you a way to prospect more efficiently with using certain smart groups. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to show you historically how the stocks have come up in these smart groups, which I'm showing right here, the best of Woodward and Brown, the top 50 group inclusion report, which I generate every day, and most of you do the same, or many of you do the same. Stocks and groups moving to the upside smart group. That's a smart group that Gil Morales uses all the time to look for new candidates. And then another one that I use is leaders raw relative strength, and that's another smart group. And as I go run these group inclusion reports, I'm going to point out the number of occurrences of these stocks in each of these groups. You'll see that as I go through this. And then as I look at the charts, we're going to look at these, what I call triggers. I like to use this impulse reaction because, and if those of you who have not been exposed to this yet, you'll see what it is. It's a slight pullback, which is a safer place to get into a stock rather than chasing it. Now, that's not always true. Over the past few days, you've seen several stocks where you could have chased them and it would have been safe so far anyway. And those are, for example, NVIDIA and AAOI are a couple that come to mind, but those are moves that are based upon earnings, and earnings can either go up or down, and I can show you many examples of stocks moving in the other direction. In fact, if any of you were crazy enough to be long Snapchat, you're feeling some pain today because that stock is currently down 21%. I don't know anybody would write a stock like that into earnings, but I know that some people did. So it can work both ways. Anyway, let me move ahead with this, and I'm going to be pointing out this how I use this combo intraday. I decided to do this a few weeks ago to use the intraday fields on groups of stocks, because what that allows us to do or permits us to do is to see stocks that are following through the following day, or maybe even emerging stocks that allow us to get into trades earlier than waiting for the end of day quotes. So that was the purpose of this. And I'll explain this as we get into it. So let's go ahead and get started. Am I coming through okay? The noise doesn't seem to be too bad right now. They've moved down to a lower level, so hopefully we can get through this all right. Okay, thanks, Adam. All right, Pete, thank you. All right, so let's get going. Now, this is what I decided to do as of this morning. And the reason, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, I believe I did, that one of our customers was saying he spends 4 hours a day prospecting, and there's absolutely no reason to spend 4 hours of your day prospecting, because there are good candidates that come up all the time, and they come up in these smart groups that I mentioned, and they come up in other smart groups too, but I'm just going to concentrate on a few of these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use today's best of Woodward and Brown. It's under Ian Woodward and Ron Brown. This is where it's always been, and I'm going to use the best of Woodward and Brown. Now you can see there's 11 securities in here because that counts the index also. I'm going to transfer this into a warehouse view, and there is no filter attached right now, but what I'm going to do, and I did this earlier as a preview for this webinar, is I saved the list as, and what this does is it saves this list as the best of Woodward and Brown dated today, and I'll just overwrite that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these stocks and put them into a filter. Now it's getting kind of noisy. Is it still okay? It shouldn't be too bad. So I will go to my filters, and I'm going to go up under, actually let's go under Ron Brown here, and go to the group inclusion report filters. I just named this folder that because I was experimenting running these against the group inclusion report. I don't use all these anymore, but they're in here and I hate to take them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this symbols list, and I'll just go ahead and duplicate that list. And then I will edit it, symbols list, all best of WB. I'm going to clear the filter, and I'm going to load this list right here. These are the 10 stocks. And then you're going to get a message if you do this. 10 securities were loaded, one was not, could not be found, and that's always the index. So you don't have to say yes, you can just say no, but here they are. So these are the 10 stocks which appear in the best of Woodward and Brown today. Now, some people that are new to HGSI may think that these stocks are just appearing, but that is why I maintain this historical database. I'm going to show you that that isn't the case. You can see now that I am, let me make this an arrow. The symbol list is the best of Woodward and Brown. That's what I'm using. That's what's showing through the warehouse. And now I'm going to go into the designer. And I'll click on the group inclusion report. And I'm going to see how many other times this has appeared in the best of Woodward and Brown in 2017. So I'll clear this, and I'm using this filter. As you can see, it's attached right here. And I have to locate my user groups. I'm going into what I call my non-index groups because these do not index. At the end of the day, here's the best of Woodward and Brown. Now you need to check the children. If you check the children, it makes sure that everything is checked under the primary folders. I'm not going to make a group from these. I'm just going to run the group inclusion report. So let's go ahead and do this. And it comes up that quickly. Now because I keep that historical information and I keep it updated for all the members of the Insider Club. In fact, I updated it this morning if you want to download the files today and be current. You'll have this same information. You can see that AMAT appeared 34 times since the beginning of the year. This has been a very consistent stock. Let's just bring AMAT up over here in a chart. And let me get this set up so it's out of the way. And I'm going to click on my alternate I key, and that's going to bring up a window. And I'll bring up a crosshair too with my actually I had the crosshair up. Let's bring it back. Alternate C, and I'm going to look for a number or the date 111, 113, 118, and so on. So let's just go to 111. So this shows me that AMAT, going back to the first of the year, first appeared in the best of Woodward and Brown on the 11th of January. And if you look over here, that was on a Wednesday. Here is where it closed. And on that day, what happened, it had an effort to rise. You can see that there were 1, 2, 3 prior VPA flags, and it was also near the 18-day exponential moving average, and it was in the fan formation. In other words, this stock was already in a strong trend. It has to be considered to be in a strong trend if it's in the fan formation, where the 200 is here, the 100 is here, the 50 is here, and the 18-day exponential moving average is here. So you can see the pullback to here, and as it pulled back, you can see that it was being accumulated. You can also see that the VPOC 10 period, 10 bucket turned positive, and it turned positive, it looks like about this day right here, or maybe even probably this day right here. And it was followed by a pocket pivot. The force indexes were already green, and then we had a confirmation of these VPA flags with this effort to rise. And this stock, the next day it traded down a little bit, traded down to the 18-day exponential moving average, and it really never has looked back from there. Yes, we had a little correction here. It was under some selling pressure. These green lines, for those of you who may not know, these are my IR lines, or the impulse reaction lines. This is what I'm looking for, a stock pulling back slightly, and then when it breaks past a prior day's high, that's an opportunity to get in. Of course, you're controlling risk all along. Now you can make your stops as wide as you like to. That's fine. You may, people complain all the time about getting stopped out, and that's a real problem. But you should base your initial risk on the amount of capital you want to use or risk, and the distance from your entry point, and that'll give you the number of shares to buy. But that's really kind of a different subject. What I'm pointing out here is that this stock appeared all of these times in the best of Woodward and Brown, and it continues to go up. This is as of today. I did a manual update of the intraday quotes just a few minutes ago, and I'll update it again pretty soon. Okay, let's look down at the next stock. Now here's Broadcom. First, before I spend much time on all these, I'm just going to go down through each of these. These are all well-known stocks. And you can see the numbers diminish as we get down to the bottom. Here's AAOI. The reason this has not appeared much is, well, just take a look at the stock and you'll understand that it has really been, after this run up here, it's really been a choppy stock with a deep pullback here. It pulled back nearly to the 100-day moving average. Then it's set up again. Here's the reversal on earnings right here. And it continues to go. It looks like it's hesitating a little bit now, but it's had a major run here. If here's a green bar right here, this would be an IR bar. Of course, your risk is much greater up here than it was back in here. So when I look at these stocks now, what I try to do is, what I do is say, what are my odds of being stopped out on a stock at this point? You always want to look for an area like this if you can. See how tight it is here. It's above the 18-day moving average. Here's our pullback for the impulse reaction. You want to be buying a stock in here with a narrow body if you can. The more you chase a stock, and sometimes it works out, but generally stocks at some point revert to the mean. Now look at it here. It looked great here, didn't it? It looked like it was going to go and go. We had the pullback here, but it just kept on pulling back, and it had a major pullback. So you need to be careful when you're chasing these stocks. This is what I like to look for. This is one of the primary things, and I noticed that well, we have a Skype group for people that have taken the webinar series, and most everybody in there that purchases a stock seems to be using that technique. Because why? Well, there's a few reasons why. One of the primary reasons is your exposure is really great on these extended stocks. And another thing is, how are you going to position size this? Are you going to put your stop down here? If you put a stop down here and you put that information into the spreadsheet, you're not going to be able to buy very many shares of a stock. You want to find a contraction area or a compressed area like this, where your risk is much lower, or even if you put your stop down here, your risk is much less than it is up here, and that permits you to buy more shares of a stock. And that's the whole theory behind this impulse reaction. You want a stock in an uptrend if you're going long, and you want to see a contraction area where risk is lower. Okay, so I'm kind of getting off of what I want to do here, but I just want to show you that these stocks in the best of Woodward and Brown appeared multiple times. The best stocks appear over and over and over. Now let's do something else with this. Let me take this same list of 10 stocks and let's look at it with the top 50 group inclusion report for 2017. Best of Woodward and Brown is pretty restrictive because to qualify to get into that smart group, the stocks have to appear most often in all of the other smart groups that are generated every day, and it's only the top 10. So let's broaden that out just a little bit here. I'm going to go back to the designer. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to clear this. The best of Woodward and Brown. I'll just tighten these up. And this time around, let's go into the top 50 group inclusion report for 2017. So this will be through this morning, and I'm going to check the children. which means that everything is selected. And let's go ahead and run this. I'll just overwrite my current group inclusion report, which I always do. Now, let's compare the numbers on AMAT in the Best of Woodward and Brown. It was there many times at 34. That's a big number since the first of the year, but look how many times it appeared in the top 50. One of those was a short when it was weak. I'm doing both longs and shorts now, but everything else, so it appeared 59 times on the long side, which is tremendous. Now let's look at COHR. It appeared 40 times going back to the first of the year. What did it do over here? It only appeared 11 times. So you can see by broadening out to the top 50, we are getting many more instances of this appearing. Let's take a look at COHR going back to the 6th of January. Okay, whoops. Here it is right here. You can see that this is the 6th. It's on a Friday. What characteristics are there? First of all, it's a tight stock because it is running right along this 18-period exponential moving average. The fan is in place. Here is a pullback, a perfect opportunity to buy this stock the following day. If you had a close stop on this stock, it never would have been hit. So it's an opportunity to load up on more shares. This is a beautiful stock, obviously. Anyway, in addition to that, there was, let's see, what was that date? Let me bring that up. The date was the 6th. That's the 9th. Okay, here's the 6th right here on a Friday. So what do we have? Well, first of all, if you look back a couple of days, what date was that? That was the 4th. It didn't appear in the top 50 that day, but it did have an effort to rise flag. So it appeared in the top 50 this day, and there was a pocket pivot, 2 pocket pivots back to back, and a pocket pivot back on the 4th also. You can see that the VPOC turned green clear back here on this date, and there was a test for supply on that date. So it also tested off the 18-period exponential moving average. So this hugged that 18-period. I didn't mention, unfortunately, on the AMAT, on the other stock, that the group was mostly going up. Now this stock, COHR, had greater relative strength than the group, than the semiconductor group at this time right here. How do I know? Because the group was moving down and this stock was moving up. So that's how you can do a visual comparison. The group line is not scaled in here. That's an independent line, but you can still look at the direction. And you can see, as I pointed out, that the group was going down while the stock was going up. So what does that tell you? If it has higher relative strength than its own group, that is a very good sign, because there is more than likely it's going to go up. It's going to continue to be a leader, and that's exactly what happened with the stock. So what else confirmed this move on the 6th? Well, the force indexes, the force 13 was already positive, and the force 2 turned. Force 2 is a pretty jumpy indicator. You can see that it jumps around a lot more than the VPOC 1010 in this instance anyway, and I'm basing most of my triggers on the VPOC 1010 primarily for that reason. I do look at the force indexes. The force 13 is smoothed out much more than the force 2, but this seems to give some better triggers down here. So we had the pullback, we had a VPA confirmation, we had the VPOC 1010, we had pocket pivot, force indexes. It was group was going down at this point, started to move up and then back down, but this stock was going up. So that would have been an excellent trade there. Now you can see that it also confirmed this on the 9th, which I pointed out, also confirmed it on the 11th, the 12th. Look at all these dates in January. and these were very close together, most of these. So the through the 31st of January, this stock was appearing in the top 50 group inclusion report. Let's just take a look at it on the 31st, see what it looks like right there. Well, okay, coming off of 3 days of contraction here with this green bar, and then the moved up above that. This must have been earnings right here. So, you know, if you're in the stock, great. If you want to write it through earnings, and that would have been a good move on this part. If you're in a stock, if you have a decent profit in it, you like the stock, it's in a decent group, you know, there's certainly nothing wrong with holding through earnings, but I just don't like to buy stocks going into earnings. You know, that could be a mistake, but look what happened after earnings. It went up a few days. This stock really didn't do anything for another month and a half, or even looks like 2 or 3 months. So, you know, you buy the earnings here, and then it takes a while to digest it, and then here we start going again. Let's look at some of these dates here. What's this? This is the 19th of, look at that. Appeared in the 19th, on the 19th. Stephen wants me to show that relative strength chart. Let me grab it quickly. Is this the one, Stephen? Yeah, COHR. You can see right here, and this is a good chart because it shows, let me close this window and make this chart a little larger so we can see it better. So you can see that this stock, here's COHR moving up while the group's moving down, and the blue line indicates that it's outperforming its industry group here because it's going up slightly, and it's clearly outperforming the NASDAQ and the S&P at the same time because it's moving up. If the blue line's moving up, it's outperforming. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my other chart, my swing high-low trigger chart, which I spend a lot of time looking at. And let's just look at a few more of these. There's Broadcom, 32 appearances here. And what do we have here? We had 22. So that's pretty good, being in Best of Woodward and Brown 22 times. But it was in it was in 32 times in the top 50 group inclusion report. Now here's Netflix. It appeared 31 times. Did that even appear here? No, it did not appear in the Best of Woodward and Brown. So that is why, I'm sorry, it did too, 9 times. I overlooked that. So it appeared 9 times here and 31 times in the top 50. This is why I like to use the top 50 as one of the primary prospecting tools, because these stocks have a tendency to appear in here. You're not going to find all the stocks, but you're going to find some of the leaders. And what are we looking for? We're looking for really strong stocks and strong groups, essentially. And this is where they've been hiding. Let's look at one more here. Okay, well, there's that AOI. It appeared many times. Looks like AMAT, well, it was the dominant, CHOR, and so on. Now, let's do something else here. Let's go ahead and go back to the designer. And I'm going to clear this out of here. And I'm going to, this time, go to stocks and groups, moving to the upside. I'm going to check the children. And like I said, this is one of the groups that Gil likes to use, or I haven't talked to Gil for a while, but it's a group that he used to use every day to look for new prospects. So let's just see how many times these stocks appeared using this. And you can see that Applied Materials appeared 59 times here. It appeared 34 times in the best of Woodward and Brown, and it appeared 60 times in the, okay, this is the group inclusion report. Okay, here's the stocks and groups moving up. It appeared 59 times, so comparable numbers right here. In fact, the same numbers, because this was a short, wasn't it? So 59 times it appeared there. Now here's MELI. This appeared 42 times in stocks and groups moving up. This is a symbol that I don't believe appeared in either one of these other reports. So let's just take a look at MELI, and I'll bring this back up here. It started appearing on the 3rd of January. Wow, look at this stock. Tremendous. This is why you really need to use a little flexibility in your prospecting methods, because you can see that by going through these different groups, I'm pulling up a few different stocks. Yes, there are a lot of stocks that are the same, but this appeared on Tuesday, January 3rd. That was the first trading day of the year, and it appeared after a slight pullback, or an IR with the green bar. Force indexes are positive. We had a pocket pivot. The VPOC had turned green back in here, so it was early. The fan was not quite formed. The fan completed forming over here at this point when all the moving averages got in their correct order. But this is the day that appeared. There was no VPA flag that day, but on the following day and the day after that, there were 2 efforts to rise, which means the bulls are getting into these stocks at this point, and that's confirmed with the pocket pivots and all the other indexes, or I'm sorry, indicators that I pointed out. Notice the group is on the move. So from this day here, this stock, that's the 4th, this is the 3rd. Let's say somebody bought it on the 4th and just held this stock. That price level is around 161. If I bring on my alternate A key and make sure these are selected, we're going to do a little measurement here. We can take it from there. Let's take it to where it was today when I updated. And if you look down here, the change, I'm sorry about that. I didn't want to do that. Let's close this and bring this up. The change is 73.8% over 89 periods. And this, remember, was from the stocks and groups moving to the upside. And after the fan got in place, it had a little hiccup down here, pulled back to the 18. Notice how this 18, in this instance, provided support for it. And it really never did close below the 18 again, I don't believe. And this must have been the recent earnings. So once again, tremendous move in one of the 4 smart groups that I'm talking about today. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to clear all the annotations, get rid of that, get rid of this. And let's take a look at another stock. So do you see how I'm looking at these same triggers? I call them triggers. Actually the IR, it's not a trigger, it's a setup, but the others are all triggers, including the VPOC 1010, the pocket pivots. Like to see the group moving up. That's not a trigger, it's a visual. The fan is also a visual to tell if a stock is trending or not. But these are all things that I like to look at. The VPA, of course, is a major trigger also. Okay, let's take a look. Thanks, Tom. There's a VGO. Let's take a look at Netflix going back to the 3rd. Notice how a lot of these stocks appeared on the 3rd. Okay. Here's the 3rd. Look where it's coming, what it's coming off of. It's coming off of the 18-day exponential moving average after a 3-day pullback, and there's an effort to rise. There's a pocket pivot. The VPOC 1010 turned positive. We have the VPA. What's going on up here? Both force indexes are positive also. It had a nice run up. The group was moving. It hesitated here, pull back. Didn't penetrate the 18 until this point right here, got down. But the fan was still intact. By the fan being intact, I mean that the 18 did not come down through the 50. It tried to over here, but it did not. It held. And this was a basing period going from side to side. Now here's a pullback here. This one was not triggered. This one was triggered. This would have been a loss had you bought this high from the prior day, because your stop probably would have been in here somewhere. It would have been a short-term stop. This one never was executed because it kept falling. Here is a IR right here, a buy right in there. These are all good IR buys. I like to call them IR buys. So this is what I like to look for. I like to look for pullbacks. I like to see the fan in place. First of all, to buy into this methodology, you have to believe that if a trend is in place, it's going to remain in place. Well, it won't remain in place forever, maybe, but you have to believe that the odds are more in your favor when you have a trend in place. What does a trend tell you? Especially on these big stocks, it tells you when there's a pullback that the stock is getting institutional support because they don't let it go too far. These stocks that we're all familiar with, like Netflix, Nvidia, and so on, they generally do not go too far before the institutional buyers step up and take them higher again. Okay, let me do my last one, GIR, and I'm going to use the leaders, the raw combo smart group. Steven says, is there a reason the best of W&B is not in the GIR? I don't know what you mean, Steven. You have to run a group inclusion report on that. Well, no, it's in there. You mean if I run a regular top 50 group inclusion report, the best of Woodward & Brown shows up, or it should, unless it got deselected. Is that what you mean? I'll run it here in a second. We'll find out, okay? It should be one of the groups. Well, let's just run it right now to find out, and then I'll come back to the raw relative strength. So let's go to the designer. There's a lot of videos up there that show you how to run the GIR report, but I'm going to run it right now for you, okay? I'm going to clear this. I'm just going to leave Actually, let me do the raw combo, and then I'm going to come back to this because I don't want to clear this filter out. So let's do it this way. Let me finish what I was doing. So I'm going to use the raw combo, and I'm going to check the children, and I'm just going to run this. Let's see how many times these stocks appear. In the raw combo. Now we're getting a little different perspective here. Look at this. AAOI appeared 64 times in this group. I call this my WB leaders group, raw relative strength, raw combo, because this smart group, what it does is it uses a combo ranking looking for stocks that have high relative strength and high group strength. And it takes the top 100 and it creates a group for us each day automatically. So let's just take a look at this. And if you look at this AAOI, you can see that the EPS, I'm sorry, I don't want the EPS. I want the group rank and the raw relative strength. Forget about the EPS in this instance. So I'm looking for strong relative strength stocks and stocks which have a high group rank. And this is all based upon the combo ranking. That's it. And you can see that AAOI was appearing in this list going back to the 12th of January. So once again, let's take a look at this on the 12th. So on this big gap up day, this buyable gap up day, why is it a buyable gap? For those of you who may not know what a buyable gap is, you don't know if it's a buyable gap or not until that gap holds. But looking at this, you can see that this level right here was never challenged again. So that is a buyable gap. And yeah, it's scary to buy these sometimes, but if you have your risk control in here, if you don't let it go, if you put your stop in just below the low of the day on the buyable gap, a lot of times these stocks, which are showing tremendous demand, how do I know there's tremendous demand? Well, first of all, let's start at the bottom. There's a VPOC 1010, there's a pocket pivot, there's an effort to rise, there are 3 VPA flags here. This is just this triangle in this instance with pointed down is just, it's a warning that, you know, there's an awful lot of volume coming into this stock, much heavier than normal, and it may be overbought in the short term. Didn't have any effect though. Back to back, it did, well, I guess it did. It pulled back for one day and then it just took off again. In addition to this, look at both force indexes turned positive. So there were, how many triggers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triggers counting the VPA. So that is a pretty good indication that there's heavy demand on this particular stock, and that's the way it turned out. And you know what happened with AAOI? It well, let's go back here. I want to look at something here. This was on the 12th. AAOI did not appear in the best of Woodward and Brown until the 27th. So this is why you need to look at various methods or various smart groups if you want to find these stocks. I'd say the top 50 is probably, if you're going to run one report, run the top 50. But you should also take time to look at these smart groups. You don't have to run a report on them every day. Only the top 50 requires a report to be run. The others are generated for us automatically. I'm just saying that you should take time to look at those groups because you're going to find candidates that do not appear in the top 50, or you may find stock appearing in several of these groups. It's worth the extra effort, but you certainly don't have to spend 4 hours a day looking for candidates as this one customer was doing. I would give up 2. I mean, if I had to put that much time in, it's not worth it. It's self-defeating when you put that much effort into it. Okay, let's look at this. Now here's COHR. We've already looked at this stock. This was appearing back on the 9th. So let's take a look at CHOR. These are the current numbers here, 97 and 87. But these numbers had to be close to these same numbers clear back here on the 9th of January, which was right here. So this is an indication that this is a very strong stock at this point right here. And if we zoom, let's just take a look at this and zoom out on this. You can see that it was basing for a long, long time here, and then it started to move. Here's the 9th. I could go back into the 2016 information to see when it was showing up, and it was probably showing up before this. What's IRBT doesn't appear on the list. What's wrong with this stock? Well, let's take a look at IBRT. What is IRBT? I don't care how you prospect, not every stock's going to show up. Well, no, this is a great iRobot. This is a great looking stock. It just because it doesn't appear here, it doesn't mean that it's not a great stock. There's nothing wrong with this stock. It just doesn't appear in these lists. That's all there is to it. First of all, the group rank is only 72, so it's not going to appear in this one. Okay. And let's go to the group inclusion report, the top 50. I'll do a control F, control find. Let's see if it shows up there. I don't think so. Whoops, I have an extra letter in there. No, it didn't show up in that one. You know, am I doing this right? IRBT, yeah. I don't know why it doesn't show up, but I'm going to show you that these stocks will show up even if they don't show up in these lists. Because if you screen, and in my filters, you can screen on the trigger line for the VPOC. You can screen on pocket pivots. You can screen on force indexes, which I really don't do much anymore. And you can, whenever there's a green pullback bar here, you can screen on these. Now, you may have to look through a bunch of stocks, but there are ways to find these stocks. They're just not appearing in what I'm looking at. That's all there is to it. If you look at very strong relative strength stocks, it has an RS of 98, it will appear there too. But notice, this is really pretty interesting that this stock has continued to go up after these pocket pivots, the blue lines right here. This stock has been climbing really on relatively low volume. And what that means is the demand is greater than the supply, because if a stock continues to go up on low volume, every time there is selling, there is enough demand under the stock that people are absorbing the selling, and it's going to go up if there's more demand than there is supply. And that's you see this once in a while. Low volume, but yet the stock continues to rise because every bit of selling is met with purchases. I really can't tell you why it didn't show up in the list, but no, it's a great stock. You can see the groups moving up too. Okay. Now let me run just a regular group inclusion report. Are you in this, Satya? I hope you are. $44, good. Well, you're feeling pretty good, aren't you? Okay, so $44. Let's. So you bought it back over here then somewhere. Okay, Paul Reike says it showed up. It has shown up in the VPA signals group since January. All right, so you wrote it through this. You have a profit objective? Or are you just going to let it go? Do you have a trailing stop? Okay, good. Well, you get big fat profits in here. Earnings are out of the way. As long as you know where you can get out, you can't beat that. So it showed up in the VPA, Paul said. Well, yeah, it's going to show up in the VPA because look at all these VPA flags that have occurred. Also, you can see that the fan from this point, let me zoom in on this. The fan was intact once again right here after the 18 pulled back through the 50. So it would appear in there's a filter in there for fan stocks. It would have appeared in fan stocks at that point. So I'll have to take a look when I get a chance and see if there are some other screens that have appeared in. I don't want to get too bogged down on that right now. Let's just go ahead and do a regular GPA report for somebody who doesn't know how to run it. And I also want to make sure that W and B is in there, which it should be unless it got deselected. Okay, this is how you run a top 50 report. I'm going to do this quickly because there are videos up on the site and YouTube videos where I explain how to do this. But this is something we do every day. You just go to the designer and you click on this arrow. I'm going to clear everything. I'm going to get rid of use applied filter because I'm finished with this right now. And I'm going to load a selection. The selection I load is in this file in my user files. It's called a GSEL file, and it's the top 50 GIR with groups. I'm going to load that. What this does is it loads all of these smart groups. And if W and B isn't selected, it got deselected somehow. See all of these selected stocks? Well, it got deselected because it should be selected. So I'll fix that. But anyway, go in and the next time you load this, and because Best of Woodward and Brown should be part of that. It's not going to make that big a difference because they're appearing in other words. So since I have selected that, now save the selection. Just go back and overwrite that. And I'm going to clear this. I don't want to confuse you, so let me start over. That should have been selected. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to clear everything. And I'm going to load that selection, the top 50 GIR. And I'm going to just go ahead and run this. Stephen, when did you notice that? It looks like it's been deselected for a while. Yeah, because, that should have been in there. Thanks for pointing that out, by the way. See, here it is right here, Best of Woodward and Brown. I don't know how that got deselected, but anyway, I will upload um, that. But any of you who are watching the webinar, just go ahead and fix that yourself. It's not that big a deal, but it should appear in here. Anyway, that's how you run it. But what we do is not only do we run it like that, we save the group. That's how I save the history every day. So let me do it one more time. And I just select this make group from report. It goes into a folder and I put the number 50 in here and we make a physical group of it. Okay, I'm not going to go ahead and do it. Well, I'll go ahead and do it. What the heck? I'll just delete it. So what we do is we run this, and then this gives us what did I do wrong here? I've got something open. Okay. No, I do not want a. No, so here it is. This would be the top 50, and this one includes the best of Woodward and Brown. It should have been there all along, but here it's in this file. Just out of curiosity, since we're doing this, it looks like it made a difference of one stock down here. Now, look in here, and a stock disappeared. So, yeah, that should have been in there, but it's not going to. Okay, good. I don't know. It used to be selected. I don't know how that happened. I probably screwed it up, but it's not that big a deal. Okay. So why don't I delete this one? I'll repost these on the site and this one I'll get rid of the 1, and this will be the official GIR for today. And I'll go ahead and post that. Now I just had a great thought. I wanted to show you something and I forgot about it. I should have written it down. Just do the add-on, Tom. Everything I fix is through the add-on. That's the easiest way to do it, and it works extremely well. And I'll have that up there about 10 minutes after I finish this. Okay. I'm trying to think of what I was going to do here. Anyway, I hope that answers your question on the GIR. That's the way we do it every day. What it is, the purpose of this, when I thought of this a couple of years ago, is to give us an instant list of stocks that we can analyze further for potential trades. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Let's go ahead and do this. Let me show you another little trick here. Since there's some interest in this IRBT, I'm going to go into my filters, and I'm going to go back into the Ron Brown folder, GIR, and I'm just going to click on symbol here. We're going to edit it, and I'm going to type in IRBT. Is that correct? Okay. Now we're going to do this, and I'll probably call it a day. Well, no, I won't either. I want to show you I want to show you where all you can find all these other scans. But I want to take a look at this iRobot, and I want to go back in time. And I can do this a couple of ways. Let's do it the simple way. Matthew put this in a while back. So IRBT, and I'm just going to click on this folder up here, and the background turns a light blue. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to type the symbol in up here. Okay, so what this does is it goes back through my history. And I didn't have to put that in the filter, but I'm going to try that too. What it does is it shows where this stock appeared in these smart groups. So it was on April 26th, but going back in time, all these VPA flags, it was in the Morales and Cash or Pocket pivots back in January. It was in Woodward and Brown, consistent earnings growth, demand, supply. It appeared in a lot of smart groups is what I'm saying. Now let's go back to 2016. Here are the 2016 groups. And it was appearing clear back in May of 2016 in the stocks and groups moving to the upside. And then it didn't appear again until October, and then in November it appeared 3 times in that group. And then it was in the M&K groups and so on. So you can see that this stock has appeared many times, especially back in 2016. I just didn't notice it because it wasn't appearing. Yeah, there is. Is it Satya? Is that how you pronounce your name? Yeah, this is a hidden trick. All you do is you put your symbol in up here, and then you click on this, the background turns blue. Yeah, this is pretty slick. So if you have a history, if you have my history, you can go back and see when this stock was appearing. Now I want to try this. I don't know if this will work or not. I'm going to do the group inclusion report. I'm going to clear this. What I'm going to do is go down to my user groups. I'm going to use the applied filter of the symbol, which is iRobot, and I'm going to look in the 2016 and 2017. I'm going to check all the children. And let's run the GIR. So what I'm doing is I'm applying that filter to the history. And this way this worked. This way you're going to get a printed report of every place where the iRobot appeared going back to 2016. Pretty slick, huh? So you can either do it in the designer or you can do a printed report like this. And here it appeared a lot in LOUR, which is lower left to upper right based upon moving average extensions. Well, it is the best. There's no question about it. You just, it's complicated, but once you get a few things down, it really helps you locate some great stocks. And I've been working with this thing for, I don't know, 18 years, 17, 18 years. So I know all the little tricks. But there are a couple of tricks right there that you can start using yourself. I'm glad you dumped Market Smith. That's music to my ears. HGSI can do so much more but getting people away, convincing people is not an easy task. But I'm glad you see the value of it. So anyway, you can see that iRobot appeared many times. Yeah, no question about it. There's a learning curve. But if you stick to these things that I'm showing you today, and I hope you downloaded the PDF file, you can practice, and we'll work on other things in the future. Now, before I go, I want to point out, let me get rid of this. I want to, okay. What we're going to do is, rather than using every stock in the database, and I still have to talk about the combo. I didn't even get to that yet. So I'll do this very quickly. Let's just use today's stocks and groups moving to the upside. And then these triggers I've been talking about that I put in, most of them have been in there. I've altered them for my own use. Now, the most used stock prospecting scans under 2017-05-01. Here's the IR view. I'm talking about, yeah, Paul, I just remembered the combo, thanks. Well, we're going to talk about the combo right now. Here's the IR view, which means the impulse reaction. As of yesterday, these stocks qualified. Let me do an F5 to update these stocks. And notice that everything changed when I did the update. This is the effect of the combo ranking. But before I talk about the combo ranking, let's bring this up. This is a stock called American Outdoor Brands. You can see that here's the IR. Even though the close was higher than the prior day's close, it was lower than the prior day's high. That's what I base the IR upon, or the impulse reaction, which means that if it takes out this high or this high up here, you're stopped into this trade. What other things are going along with this? What other confirmations? There's a pocket pivot there, pocket pivot there, pocket pivot today. Here's a test today. Here's your IR, the group's moving up. So it's got a lot of things going for it. That's why it appears. Now let's go look at the combo. Why is it at the top of the list? Because this is the best fit for this combo. I took these three factors, or fields I should say. The intraday percent range, weighted it at 33 1/3%, or 1. The intraday percent price change, same thing, and the intraday volume. Now this volume on this particular stock is slightly down from yesterday. This is, compared 15 minutes ago. But the other two factors, the range is 92.31%, which means the intraday range right here is at 90. Well, I can't move this since I put the arrow down. Let me get this out of the way so we can see this. So the intraday range is at 92.31%. The change is at 1.42%, and the volume slightly lower. But when you combine those three factors, this is the best fit. That's why it goes to the top of the list. Let's look at number 2, Anthem. Now this is a healthcare. Now its range is at 81.11%. It's up 1.33, and its volume's running slightly above normal. Now you can sort on these individually, these columns individually. If you want to look at the heaviest volume, here's Amazon. I don't think this number is correct. It's not going to be. Sometimes that happens with the server. You just have to disregard this intraday stuff because the data will be correct at the end of the day. When I say disregard the intraday stuff, it's the volume when there's a problem. But The range and the price, I never see problems with those. So if you see some totally unrealistic number like that, just forget about it. But look at the other factors. Now here's Amazon. It's setting up an IR buy. If it takes out today's high, I would consider, taking that trade. But I'm not going to go out and buy $1,000 stock. What I would do is if I considered taking this trade on Amazon, I'd probably do a bull debit spread or a credit spread. But there's all kinds of things you can do. You are not limited to buying shares of stock, because that, as you all know, is a massive investment. Okay, so this is down from the swing high. This is the setup view. These are setups. Now this is bullish VPA flag today stocks and groups with a 3-day window on the volume point of control, or the VPOC. Now the VPOC is a 3-day window because I didn't want to limit it to just today. So when did that occur? If you look at this column here, the days since the VPOC crossover, it happened yesterday. I'm using end of day data from yesterday. And look what happened. NVIDIA is following through after that great earnings report. And there was a news item this morning about a new product that they're releasing for gamers. I'm not a gamer, but anyway, it's supposed to be a great product, and that was on the heels of their announcement. So what happens? We have a stock that continued higher. Here's that triangle warning you that extremely heavy volume, but it opened lower and then traded up. Pocket pivot, effort, VPOC, force indexes. These are all triggers. They kind of work together, but sometimes they fire at different times. So this is at the top because of the combo. Big price change, percentage. The range is near the top, and the intraday volume is running heavier than normal. Now this volume looks correct. It's not skewed or out of whack like that Amazon volume. So this is how you locate these stocks. Just look at the titles. You'll see what they do. And this is strictly a VPA flag today. Notice the difference. These have a positive VPOC. If I just look for a bullish VPA flag today, I get 34 stocks plus the index. And not every one of these are going up. So I'm looking for different, I'm giving us, not just you, different options for prospecting. Here is a setup. Here's a bullish VPA flag today, but it has to be a positive VPOC. This is strictly a bullish VPA flag today. And those are the primary ones that I use. These are VPOC only. If you're looking for VPOC only, because you notice that a lot of stocks that I looked at earlier, the VPOC fired early. All of these have that same combo on them. So let's go back. Here's another one, pocket pivots with a 5-day pocket pivot or a 10-day pocket pivot. There is a slight difference, as you can see. These are the triggers that I'm using. These are the triggers that I talked about today. We'll talk about this other stuff in the future, but these are the ones I want you to concentrate on. If you get a list of stocks, for example, the top 50 group inclusion report, run through these every day. See what's setting up, see which ones had a bullish flag today with a 3-day window on the VPOC, VPA only, bullish 10-period VPOC with a 3-day window, and then these are the pocket pivots down here. That's what I'm doing now. I haven't been trading a lot lately. I know some of you have, because I kind of keep my eye on the board, and that's good. I see that a lot of you are making money. The board's open to people who have taken the webinar series. I don't have anything planned for right now, but maybe sometime in a few months. So that's about it for today. Any questions on this? I was going to go an hour and 15, and that's where I am. Is this one of my best, George? Thank you. I can't outdo this one, so everything after this is going to be downhill.
It's absolutely one of your best, Ron.
Oh, thanks, George. Well, you know, the ideas keep coming. Let's view what I've talked about today as a basis for. Thanks, Duke and Tom and Schwab. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Anyway, these are triggers. These are setups and triggers. And going forward, I want you to look for these and don't do it in all securities as a rule. It doesn't hurt to take a look at all securities, but you're going to be overwhelmed. That's why I limit myself to some of the groups. So anyway, I'm going to give you a little health update here, and I'll probably cut this off of the webinar. I thought I was going to go in for a stem cell transplant the next week or two, but my levels are not good enough, my protein levels, so I'm meeting with a multiple myeloma expert at the Med Center in Omaha tomorrow, and she is one of the top experts in the country, and she's going to give me some new ideas or new meds to try to get those levels down where I can have that stem cell transplant hopefully within the next couple of months. She really knows what she's doing, and I'm looking forward to meeting her. So I feel pretty good. Actually, I feel good if I could sleep more, but my sleep is the issue. So anyway, the webinar woke me up, which is good. Anything else? I appreciate your comments, by the way, and let's see if we can come up with some more big winners here. If that's it, we're going to go ahead and shut it down.
Shutting down, Ron.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Myrna. Adam, I should be fine. Bye now.